Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. So, I've been trying to talk about this woman. I was supposed to talk about this in the members live, and the weather here in Spain, believe it or not, it is just crazy. It's still really bad. The wind, storms, you name it. So, the internet wasn't behaving for me, so I had to abandon. I know it's bloody awful, isn't it, Princess Tia? Honest to God, we're all like, I'm a nervous wreck. The dogs are a nervous wreck. The wind is blowing a hoolie through this house. When is it going to finish? It's been going on for ages. But anyway, never mind. So, what I've decided to do, because in the members' lives, we talk about unexplained mysteries, and we just couldn't do it because my internet was not working properly. And then I've got this laptop that's bloody rubbish. Uh, so, what I've decided to do is record it, tell the story because I think it's a very interesting story. What I try and do in the members' lives is talk about unexplained mysteries that you won't know about, things that you won't have heard about. And this is one of them. So, what I've decided to do is record it. I can't go live, not the way the wind is and everything at the moment. It's probably just have to abandon it again. So, literally, I thought I'd just talk about it, and I'm literally going to read it off Wikipedia. I just want you to, I'm going to present this, I'm going to put this out to members only first, and then it will go out to the rest of you lovely chatterati. You're all lovely, my elite chatterati. I appreciate my members so much, but I appreciate everybody who watches my channel, whether you're a member or not. But the members really do help keep my channel going. So yeah, it's been a horrible day. It's just been wind rattling around the house. We're all sat here like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Anyway, hopefully it's going to finish later on today, and by tomorrow, hopefully we'll have some more normal weather. We haven't had any normal weather this winter in Spain. It's just been horrible. But anyway, I think it's not only Spain, is it? Everywhere's had horrible weather. It's just you don't expect it in Spain, that's all. So let's talk about this poor woman. Well, I say poor woman. I mean, maybe she lived the life and the death that she wanted. This is a complete mystery. Who was this woman? Um, and, did she take her own life? Or was she victim of foul play? I mean, we don't know. We will probably never know, to be fair, because this is an old case, a cold case. Yeah, it's a mystery death that has haunted Norway for 46 years, nearly 50 years, apparently. What happened to this woman? Was she a spy? Was she mentally ill? Um, who killed her? Did she kill herself? If she did, it was a very dramatic way she did it, like by setting fire to herself. It's quite unusual, isn't it, to do that? It's an but it's not unheard of. The thing is, you can never really account for what people might do, especially if they're mentally ill. So let's see. Let me just add that to stage. Oh, I've got to take the other one off. I've just realised I've forgotten to put my necklace on. How awful. Have I got one handy? Yeah, I've got one handy. I've always got necklaces around. Let me put my necklace on. Oh my God, I feel naked. I've just realised. Oh my God. I've got my earrings in. Yeah, I've got my earrings in. I've got my lipstick on, always. Okay, so let's see. It's just a curious case. As I say, that's what we'll be doing in Members' Lives, talking about curious cases that you might not have heard about. So this is the woman, the mystery death that has haunted Norway for 46 years. And this was in 2017. So it's a mystery that's intrigued Norway for nearly 50 years. In November 1970, the badly burnt body of a woman was found in a remote spot in Norway's Izdal Valley. Someone had cut the labels off her clothes. That's strange, isn't it? And scraped distinctive marks off her belongings, as if to stop her from being identified. Now, it does remind me a little bit of the guy in Ireland that was never identified. The guy that turned up, booked into a hotel. I've done a video about him. It's here on my channel. Booked into a hotel, he stayed there a couple of days, disposed of his belongings, day by day. He went out with a carrier bag and came back with nothing in with stuff in it, and came back with nothing in it. Was it Peter Bergman, I think he'd booked into the hotel as? And then one day he was found deceased on the beach where it seemed like he'd taken his own life. Was he a spy? Who was he? Why did nobody report him missing? And this is a very similar case. So as police started investigating her death, they uncovered a trail of coded messages, disguises. Oh, gosh, I didn't put my necklace on properly, it fell off. And fake identities, but they never... Oh, she had about 6 fake identities. So 46 years later, Norwegian police and NRK journalists have decided to reopen the investigation. This is the story of the Izdal woman and the perplexing trail of clues she left behind. Oh, the article apparently includes one graphic image. So this is, so the place where she was found is called Death Valley. And I'm always a great believer in that the names of, what can I say? I don't think that's its official name, but that's what the locals called it. If a place is called Death Valley, it's not a good sign, is it? Or Self-Deletion Mountain, or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? These names, they're for a reason. So on the morning of 29th of November 1970, a man and his 2 daughters see a body in Izdal Valley, and the body was sprawled across some rocks with its arms extended in a boxer position, typical of bodies that have been burnt. I've got to say that I do think if you were going to take your own life, why would you burn yourself? Unless you didn't want to be identified. Izdal is known to some locals as Death Valley. It was a site where people committed the Big S in medieval times. And in the 1960s, some hikers had fallen to their deaths while trekking in the fog. But this woman does not appear to be a normal hiker. Do you think some places are sort of haunted, like almost by demons or whatever? They lure people, don't they, to their deaths? It was out of the way. It was an unusual place to walk. Carl Halvar Ace, a police lawyer who was one of the first officers to be called to the scene, recounts to the BBC. He remembers a strong smell of burnt flesh. Ooh. The body was, I think this might be the body. Oh, yeah, you can see there it's a body, yeah. The body was burnt all over the front, including the face and most of her hair, but it was not burnt on the back. It looked like she'd thrown herself back from a fire, he says, adding that she was so badly burnt they could not imagine what she originally looked like. So the scene was cold by the time Carl arrived, so he did not know how long the body had been there for. How did the woman end up on fire? Clue 2, the objects. Police found a number of objects at the scene. Jewellery, a watch, broken umbrella, and some bottles, but it's the positioning of the objects that leaves the strongest impression on Tormod Bones. Bones? Oh my God, you couldn't make it up, could you? One of the forensic. Tormod Bones. And he's one of the forensic investigators. Sorry, I know it's not funny, but do you know what? I feel like this world is so crazy. The woman is not wearing the watch or her jewellery. Instead, they've been placed beside her. Maybe she took them off and put them at the side. The placement and the location of the objects surrounding the body was strange. It looked like there'd been some sort of ceremony, he said. Maybe she did the ceremony. Anyway, police also find the remains of a pair of rubber boots and nylon stockings. She'd been wearing a lot of clothes of synthetic materials. All the clothes had been heavily burned, he says. Adding to the mystery is the fact that the production labels had been cut off her clothes and rubbed off the bottles at the scene. That is odd, I think. Why would you do that? Or why would that be done? Police find nothing at the scene to indicate who the woman was. So this looks like these are the items. So yeah, items of clothing, drinking bottles, the remains of nylon stockings and pieces of jewellery. So the police issued an appeal for eyewitnesses. They said the woman was about 5 foot 4.5 inches tall, long brownish black hair, small round face, brown eyes, small ears. She was aged between 25 and 40, so she was young as well, and wore her hair in a ponytail tied with a blue and white print ribbon at the time of death, and without a name she becomes known as the Izdal woman. So the story is big news in Bergen, a peaceful town with a low crime rate. And then they find another clue, the suitcases. They find 2 suitcases at Bergen railway station's left luggage department. One of the suitcases contains prescription-free glasses, and a fingerprint on one of them matches the woman's. Now, this is where I think it gets really curious. The suitcases also contain clothes, several wigs, German and Norwegian money, and Belgian, British, and Swiss coins, a comb and a hairbrush, cosmetics, some teaspoons. Why would you have teaspoons in there? And a tube of eczema cream. Initially, police were very optimistic because they thought the suitcases would help them identify this woman. What the hell? Oh, those. What? Soon they realised all the labels that could have identified the woman, her clothes or belongings, had been removed. Even the prescription sticker on the eczema cream, which would have shown the name of the doctor and the patient, has been scraped off. They didn't want to be identified, did they? Police try hard to trace the woman's belongings. They even contact several major department stores abroad, including Galeries Lafayette in Paris, to see if the stores recognise any packaging or the woman's makeup. But none of the department stores can find a match. There's also a mysterious coded note in the case, which police will not crack until a while later. There's one important piece of evidence in the suitcase, a plastic bag from Oscar Rutved's footwear store. The owner's son remembers selling the pair of rubber boots to a very well-dressed, nice-looking woman with dark hair, and the boots he sold her appeared to match the boots on the body. And they're strange boots, aren't they? Police believe that the umbrella found near the body was also bought from the store. He said that the woman made an impression on him because she took a long time choosing the boots, much longer than the average customer. She spoke English with an accent and she had a calm and quiet expression, he said. He also recalls a strong smell emanating from the woman, which later he thinks might have been garlic. Using his description, police are able to trace the woman to St. Swithin Hotel nearby where she checked in as Fenella Lorque. But the problem is that was not her real name. So clue 4, the hotel forms. It emerges that the woman had stayed in several hotels in Norway using different aliases. And since most hotels required guests to show a passport and fill in a check-in form, this means she would have had several fake passports. So she did quite a bit of travelling, you can see on here. And she had various different aliases. She claimed she'd arrived from London, and police found that the woman had stayed in the following hotels under these names. Genevieve Lancier from Louvain stayed at the Viking Hotel Oslo. Claudia Tielt from Brussels, these were all her identities, stayed in Hotel Bristol in Bergen. Claudia Tielt from Brussels stayed in Hotel Scandia, Bergen. Claudia Nielsen. So she's used Claudia a few times, but she's used it with other surnames. Then we go to Alexia, completely different from Juveljana. I'll have pronounced that wrong, sorry. Stayed in the Neptune Hotel Bergen from October to November. And Vera, again, a completely different name, Vera Jarl from Antwerp, stayed in Hotel Bristol Trondheim from the 6th to 8th of November. So she's done a lot of moving around. And then we've got a Miss Leenhoff who stayed in Hotel Rosenkrautz, Bergen. Elizabeth Leenhoff, so same surname but different first name. You know, that's a lot of different identities, isn't it? A lot. So apparently she made a strong impression on Alvid oh gosh, I'm so sorry about the pronunciation. Ranjnes, who was a 21-year-old waitress at the Hotel Neptune at the time. My first impression was of elegance and self-assuredness, she said. She looked so fashionable. I wanted to mimic her style. In fact, I remember her winking at me. From my perspective, it felt as if she thought I had been staring a bit too much at her. So she's obviously a very striking woman. On one occasion, when I was serving her, she was in the dining hall sitting right next to, but not interacting with, two German Navy personnel, one of which was an officer. I mean, was she a spy of some kind? Anyway, police questioned several hotel staff and they learned that in addition to speaking English, she also used German phrases. She often requested a change of room. On one occasion, she asked to change rooms 3 times. Anyway, clue 5, the notes. By now there are several rumours that the woman was a spy. There weren't a lot of foreign tourists in Bergen then, and the fact that the woman seemed wealthy, well-travelled, sparked a lot of speculation. This was during the Cold War, and there were definitely a lot of spies in Norway, including Russian spies. She was very young, though, wasn't she, to take her own life, if that's what she did. There were also Israeli. Oh, it's bound to be to do with Israel. You know what Israel's sorry. Operating in Norway, as shown 3 years later when Mossad agents killed a man in Lillehammer as they had mistaken for a terrorist. Norwegian intelligence services are investigating too, but will not admit it until decades later. Security services apparently were interested in reports that the woman had been seen observing the military test out new rockets in Western Norway, but there weren't any clear conclusions from their reports. Anyway, the autopsy. Let's go to the autopsy. It was found that there was an unexplained bruise on the far right side of her neck that could have been the result of a blow or a fall. No signs the woman was ill. She'd never been pregnant or had a child. Her death is likely to have been a painful one. There were smoke particles in her lungs which showed she was still alive while she was burning. I mean, I just think if you're going to, depart this world, would you set yourself on fire? They found a trace of petrol in the ground below the woman's body, which means we can all state with certainty that petrol had been used. The thing is, was it used by her or did someone do it to her? She had a high concentration of carbon monoxide in her blood. She had also taken, if she'd taken between 50 and 70 sleeping pills, but they had not been fully absorbed apparently into her bloodstream before she died. So she wasn't unconscious, probably. Why would you take sleeping pills, then set yourself on fire? You might take the sleeping pills, of course, if you're trying to, leave this world. But how could you take the sleeping pills and then set yourself on fire? I don't know. Anyway, she died apparently from a combination of carbon monoxide poisoning and ingesting a large number of sleeping pills. And the cause of death was announced to be a probable self-deletion, which was a view supported by Bergen's chief of police. That's an easy decision, really, isn't it? Many people find it hard to believe, because then you don't have to investigate, do you? We talked about it in the police, but as far as I remember, very few thought it was self-deletion. Carl Halver Ace says, both the remote spot where a body was found and the method of self-deletion by fire struck him as strange. Now, we have to say, it may be strange, but it's not impossible. Anyway, without any further leads, the case was closed. The woman was buried in February 1971. Police think the woman may be Catholic. We don't know why. Maybe she had a cross on her or something. They organised a Catholic funeral for her. The coffin was decorated with lilacs and tulips, and the priest conducted a simple ceremony for the unknown woman who was put to the grave in a foreign country without any family present. And that's a funeral. The thing is, we don't know it was a foreign country to her. She may have been from round there. We don't know where she was from. But very, very mysterious. So apparently police still hope to find the woman's family. She's buried in a zinc coffin that won't decompose. And they keep an album of photos from the funeral for her relatives. And Harold Osland was one of the investigators reluctant to let the case go. My father, his son Torrey said, my father could never put this case away. He could never accept that they had to close it down. His father kept several of the police documents, and eventually Torrey wrote a book about the case. And over the years, the case has also inspired several crime writers and illustrators. What intrigues people is it's an unsolved mystery. It's almost like following a crime novel. Well, truth is always stranger than fiction. Well, this looks like some sort of a What's this? Oh, Norwegian crime writers explain the appeal of the Izdal woman case. I'm going to play this video, but it might be in Norwegian.
It is no doubt that this is one of the biggest mysteries in Norway. Perhaps it is the biggest mystery.
Because no one knows. It's been 47 years since she died, and the mystery is still growing.
I was 12 years old, and for me and my friends, it was whoa. It was a big mystery.
What was she doing in that valley, which is not a natural place to be? Was it a suicide, as the police concluded, or was it a murder?
Police behavior has done it much more interesting, I think. Why do they always say suicide, suicide, suicide? People can think, you know.
A lot of crime authors are inspired by true stories. We write about things that actually could have happened, and things that actually can happen. It's the most scary story to read.
The big difference between fiction and reality is that in fiction you always get the solution. In reality, it's not always like that.
It's true, actually. Yeah, there's always an answer in fiction, but in truth, true crime is stranger than fiction. Oh, so she had distinctive teeth. 14 of them were filled. She had several gold crowns. She obviously was a wealthy woman. This was especially unusual for someone of her age and is not the type of dental work seen in Norway. Gisle Bang, a professor of dentistry, keeps the woman's jaw in the hope that other experts will recognise her dental work. After his death, oh, he's died. Everyone assumes the jaw has been destroyed. Oh, is that her actual jaw? Bless her. Oh no, they found it. So they've still got her jaw, so that means they've still got DNA, I suppose, as well. Oh, there's more clues. The tissue samples, of course, now we've got DNA, yeah, which we didn't have then. But they have got tissue samples, so if anybody came forward and said they knew this woman, they would be able to test. That's interesting. Especially nowadays that people are sending off their, for genealogy sort of thing. Oh. So they've got an extended DNA profile. So if someone in the family goes onto the DNA registry, it is possible then, isn't it, that it's going to be solved? Oh, mind you, this BBC sort of article, I think it's from 2017. So as far as I know, it's not been solved yet. 13th of May 2017. So what do you think? Do you think the case of this woman will ever be solved? Do you think it's likely that she took her own life in that weird way? Was she a spy? Why did she have sort of 6, 7 different identities? And she obviously had money, because she was traveling around all over the place. And then some people say it's a woman who had mental illness, and mental illness. But why has nobody come forward, to say she was missing? Because those names, all those different identities she had, she did use Claudia quite often, didn't she? Maybe that was a real name, and maybe maybe the surnames were sort of family names or, yeah. Anyway, it is an unexplained mystery. That's the whole point of it. That's the whole point of me showing you this. So I just want to know, what do you think? Do you think it'll ever be solved? I think there's a good chance that it might be solved with genetic genealogy nowadays, because I've had quite a few students, like from Scandinavia, who've said they've sent off their DNA. You know, it's quite a popular thing to send off your DNA for young people nowadays, isn't it? You can arrange it online. You do your swab, you send it off. I know quite a few people who've done that, younger people. Well, maybe I need to do it one day. But anyway, so I think there's a good chance that there might be a ping somewhere along the line, and we might find out who this woman is. Anyway, she's been buried respectfully. That's a good thing. It's nice that the police did that. Yeah, maybe one day the whole mystery will be solved. Let me know what you think, as always. Until I see you again in the next video, may your God go with you. Bye bye. Take care.